What up, world? Today we wrap up our three-part series. And as usual, let me just share the stream. Morning, good morning, good morning. All right. How goes it out there? The wonderful land of Facebook. All right, here we go. It's trying to look like my device is uploading, updating, or something. I wanted to get my intro music rolling, but we might have to go without intro today. It's time to switch it up. Put the hip on the shelf. There we go. All right, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Part 3 of our installment is about money. We did faith, we did family, and now we're going to do finance. But I'm taking a different turn on finance today. Normally I'm talking about how to get money, right? How to build wealth. Today I'm going to talk about your relationship with money. Angela, good morning. Good morning. I got your message too, Angela. I got a little busy before I could respond, but yes, I will. We can definitely work that out while you are off on vacation and get you up and running. So I'll get you some information a little bit later today. All right, that's done. And it looks like my device is powering up, so we will have intro music after all. Come on. Yeah, today it's all about your relationship with money, man. Critically important as any of your other relationships with family, your relationships with your creator. You got to have the right relationship with money as well. Sorry. All right, YouTube is ready. Periscope is ready. Let me just get my intro music ready. Just taking this time to power up. All right, here we go. Come on, device. All right. It's it went through some sort of update phase, and now it's just taking its sweet little time with powering up. Let's give it a minute. If we don't get it going in a minute, then we just gonna move on and start the show. It looks like it's optimizing and uploading and doing something else. So let's just start today's show. Without the intro music. I don't know what that thing is doing. Good morning, Black World, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Young Biz Kids studios here in St. Louis, Missouri, guys. If you have any interest in starting your own nonprofit organization, you already have your own nonprofit organization and you're trying to figure out how to make it more profitable, or you're trying to figure out how to write grants and get grants awarded to your organization, you're trying to grow and expand the brand of your nonprofit organization, then my girl Ariel Biggs is doing a free webinar today, 10 a.m. Central Time. You can register for that. I will put the link in the description as soon as the show is over. Just comment nonprofit if that's something you're interested in. She's also doing one a little bit later today, so if you can't make this morning's, she's doing another one at 8 p.m. Central Time tonight. So if you're interested in registering for that one, let me know. Type nonprofit in the chat so we can go ahead and get you registered. And really, nonprofits, we kind of think about nonprofits unlike regular businesses in the sense that we think that the only way that a nonprofit can generate money is by donations or grants, right? But no, nonprofit organizations can make money as well, and she'll show you how to do all of that, how to build a brand around your nonprofit, how to develop your mission statements and your board of directors, all of that. If you're interested in that, then you need to type nonprofit in the chat so I can get you that link to get yourself registered for one of 3 webinars that's going down today. One at 10, one at 2, and then one at 8. So pick the one that fits your best time for you, and we'll show you how to get that thing done. Really quickly, if you have not already checked out the Monetize My Life Academy, if you're building a brand of any kind and you want help with email marketing, internet marketing, blogging, podcasting, any of those types of things as it relates to building a brand and marketing yourself, your products, your services, Monetize My Life Academy is a place for you. Go to www.monetizemylifeacademy.com. Yes, Monica, we will get you that information to get you registered for that webinar. MonetizeMyLifeAcademy.com will allow you or teach you how to make money. Okay, you said you have the link. Okay, go ahead and get registered for whichever one fits your schedule, and we will help you out in that regard. And because Ariel does get grant money, she's been awarded a few grants, but now Young Biz Kids also makes its own money, right? And that's what separates her from a lot of nonprofits that are struggling, waiting on grants, trying to figure out, what to do to get grants approved and all that kind of stuff. But you can make your own money as a nonprofit. So if you're new to the show, I want to let you know exactly who the show is for. The show is for risers and grinders only. If you're ready to get up, get out, and get something, then this is your show. If you are the type of person that is about building a legacy for you and your family, absolutely this is your show, right? On the other hand, if you are the bump on the log, sitting back waiting on some sort of handout instead of a hand up, this show is not for you. If you are the type of person that can't stand the word money, you think capitalism is evil, you think money, wealthy people are snobs or jerks, this is not your show. You can exit stage left, and I promise we won't miss you. I can tell you each and every morning, if you've never seen a future billionaire before, then I want you to take a screenshot and watch your boy work, because it's going down 2027. Yep. I'm not only bold enough to proclaim it, I'm putting a date on that thing so I can go get it, right? So today's show, we're talking about money. Again, we're wrapping up a 3-part series, faith, family, and finance. We talked about the importance of faith, not only in your creator, but also in yourself. We talked about family, how to develop solid family relationships, how to strengthen your family. We talked about how to build your family culture, right? Bringing the black family back to the dinner table, right? We talked about things like a family motto, a family mission statement, a family vision statement, right? We talked about just building a solid family, because we understand that the family is the cornerstone of nation, and you can't have a black nation without a strong black family as the seed from which the nation and the community and nation will grow from. Today, we're talking about your relationship with money. So do me a huge favor, if you're checking us out on Periscope, go ahead and share the stream or invite your followers and put this on your fan page, or not your fan page, on your Twitter page. Go ahead and tweet it out. If you're checking this out on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button if you like the video. If you don't like the video, hit the thumbs down. I'm cool with that. Just any feedback is good for me to help me improve. But then copy the link to today's show and share it on your favorite social media timeline. And then you guys on Facebook, if you haven't already, go ahead and share the stream. And then remind me to ask people to share the stream mid-show for those who come on a little bit later. So as it relates to money, believe it or not, your prosperity or lack thereof is a direct result of your relationship with money. I'm going to say that again. Your prosperity or your lack thereof is a direct relationship, a direct result of your relationship with money. See, your relationship with money, just like any other relationship, you have to care for and you have to nurture that relationship. Relating to money is just as important as relating to family and friends. You have to put time and effort into and put money into its proper place in your life. Just like any relationship, you have a relationship with your significant other, you have to put that relationship into its proper place with your life, and you have to do certain things to care for and nurture that relationship. Same is true with your relationship with money, right? You have a relationship with your creator. That relationship is critically important. You have to put that relationship in the proper place in your life. And then you have to nurture and cultivate that relationship to keep it healthy, to keep it strong. Well, so is true with your relationship with money. You must develop the proper mindset and attitude as it relates to money. So many people have a negative attitude when it comes to money that they will never have any financial success or even financial stability in their lives because of the attitude that they take towards money, right? You have to also find out first, I believe the first step is to find out what type of money person you are. So we're going to go over the 4 types of money person. And then we're going to talk about how some steps that you can take to improve your relationship with money. You guys ready? The 4 types of money persons, right? There's 4 money people are broken down into 4 different categories. Now, I'm not going to ask you to say out loud which money person you are, but just think to yourself. If you feel comfortable enough saying that and admitting that in the chat, that's fine, but it's not required. Number 1, are you a money splurger? A money splurger. What are the characteristics of a money splurger? A money splurger purchases things beyond their means. Now, sometimes all of us do that once or twice, right? A money splurger makes that their habit. They just live above their means. They make $50,000 a year. They find a way to spend $100,000 a year. It's a money splurger. Is that you? Are you a money splurger? Here are the characteristics of a money splurger. Money splurgers purchase and live beyond their means. It's a money splurger. Characteristic number 2, a money splurger likes to shop depending on their mood, right? A money splurger shops depending on their mood, right? Hey, I'm happy. Let's go shopping. Hey, I'm sad. Let's go shopping, right? A money splurger spends money depending on their mood, right? Not a good thing to do because your mood changes all the time, right? Characteristic number 3, a money splurger is basically when they're shopping according to their mood, they're shopping in hopes of finding happiness or to relieve pain. Are you the type of person that likes to spend money in search of relief or pain or in search of finding happiness? Right? Some people are just that way. They think that their happiness is in things and they will spend money on things to try to find how or try to alleviate some sort of pain, some sort of unhappiness, some sort of sadness. So money splurgers are people who typically live above their means. Not saying that we have not all spent things that we bought things that we cannot afford, but certain people make that their life's habit. Matter of fact, they make that their life's mission, right? Do you live above your means? You might be a money splurger. Number two, do you shop depending on your mood? Does a certain mood make you want to go spend money? In a lot of cases, you're spending money that you don't have, right? Money splurger, your mood. Are you trying to fill some sort of void, and that's why you shop, right? Whether it's pain, whether it's loneliness, whether it's you're trying to make yourself happy, right? And one of the things that results from that, money splurgers tend to accumulate lots and lots of debt. Just buying something new can make you feel better sometimes. And I agree with that. But if that's why you're buying something new, you might want to get to the root cause of what's making you feel not so good and address that, because you will have those moments more often than not. And if every time you're not feeling good, you go shop, you might need some long money in order to stay afloat living that type of lifestyle. But I get what you're saying. Sometimes that is a good temporary relief, a good temporary outlet. And if you're not accumulating a whole lot of debt, if you're not making that your life's habit, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But a lot of people who are money splurgers, they're in a bad mood all the time. Right? So they're finding ways to try to cope instead of addressing the root cause of the problem. They're just putting a bunch of band-aids on top of it, usually by splurging and spending. Right? So that's one of the things. So we're talking about the four types of money people. There's the money splurger. That is the person who lives beyond their means. They spend money depending on their mood. They shop in hopes of filling some sort of void or relieving of some sort of pain, and they tend to accumulate lots of debt. Person number two, money person number two, are you a money miser? A money miser, aka tightwad, right? Are you a tightwad when it comes to money? A money miser is a person that fears poverty and worries a lot about not having enough money, but they go a little bit overboard. They go a little bit overboard. They fear poverty and worry about not having enough money to the point that they live in poverty because they spend so little. Right? You understand how sick that is? A money miser is someone who fears poverty so much, and they worry so much about not having enough money to the point that they live in poverty because they spend so little. Now, here's a person who's worried about poverty, but will live in poverty because they are always thinking about not having enough money. Are you a money miser? Are you a tightwad? See, that's equally as sick as a splurger, right? You're gonna put yourself in some tough situations. You're gonna go without bare necessities sometime because you're just tight, right? You're just tight. There's some issues going on when you're a money miser, right? Money misers fear poverty and they worry so much about not having enough money to the point that they live in poverty because they spend so little, right? They live in poverty because they spend so little. Don't let that be you, right? These are sometimes people who make really, really good money and they never take a vacation. They make really good money and they never do anything fun, right? That could also be detrimental to one's health, living that way as a money miser or as a tightwad. Different from being frugal. Don't confuse being a tightwad with being frugal. Being frugal is more about having a plan. A tightwad just says, hey, I will live in this hole in the wall where it may not be safe for me and my children. It may not, the conditions may not be the best, all in the name of, or because of my fear of not having enough money in the future. Money misers. Money haters. You guys know I talk about money haters all the time. Money hater is a person that detests money and what it does to people. Money haters are the type of people who detest money and what it does to people. Let me say this. Money doesn't do anything to people. A lot of people think that money at a certain level changes people. Money oftentimes does not change people, or it never changes people. It just shines a bigger light on who that person really is to begin with. So money haters have an issue with people having money and seeming as though the money that they have is changing who that person is. Well, I will tell you this, money isn't changing that person. That person was always like that. Money is just magnifying or shining a bigger light on who that person is. So a money hater is someone who detests money and what it does to people. They purposely avoid mere material possessions whenever they can. They purposely avoid material possessions. So the money hater is a person who has a problem with buying a new pair of shoes when their current pair of shoes is run over, right? I don't want people to think that I'm Miss Goody Two Shoes or Mr. Goody Two Shoes because I got some new shoes, right? I don't want to show. So they have an internal problem with money, and I think for a lot of people like that, the problem is with who they are, and they think money is going to expose who they really are to the world. And as a result, they try to not become financially successful because they know intrinsically that if I'm a jerk, having lots of money is going to make me a bigger jerk. So when you have money, or the money hater kind of detests money, and what tends to happen is when you have that attitude long enough, you will repel money away from you. So if you're a money hater, you don't ever have to worry about getting no money, because money flows to and through those who have a good relationship, a good attitude towards it. So when you are a money hater, you don't have to worry about getting rich. You don't have to worry about getting a significant amount of money, because you're going to always repel money away from you. So they purposely avoid material possessions. They also live in deprived and desolate conditions due to their attitude towards money. Again, they're avoiding material possessions. They don't see money as a tool. They see money as something that is evil and something that will corrupt all, right? And that's just not the case, man. You can have money and not be corrupted by it. You can have money without making money your God, right? You hear people talk about money is the root of all evil. Well, scripture actually said it's the love of money. It is your attitude and your placement of money in a certain position in your life that could result in evil. If you love money above your creator, if you love money above your family, then yeah, you're setting yourself up for a miserable failure. But with the right relationship, with the right attitude towards money, then you absolutely can have money and not be evil at the same time. But you think about some of the patriarchs of the Bible, right? They were all wealthy. They all had a moral excellence for the most part, right? And those who did stumble and fall, it wasn't because they had money, right? Think about King Solomon, right? Proclaimed one of the wealthiest men in the world. Think about Abraham. Abraham was extremely wealthy, right? These were wealthy people with good moral compasses, right? Says my son is that way. He will not get a car, a house, but makes more than myself. He would give it all to his brothers and sisters. And that's a little bit of a different issue. Some people do make money for the purpose of being that go-to person because they find solace in that. They find solace in that. They find solace in I'm the person that the family has to come to when they need something, so I can't have anything of myself, right? So they create this codependent relationship. And they say they will say, I can't do for myself because I always have to do for other people, right? And not that you have to do for other grown people; they can figure it out themselves. But if you did for self, then you would. They think people would think that they're selfish, and it's not selfish. I like to teach that when it comes to giving, you give when your cup runneth over. You don't give from your resource. You give the excess of your resource. When your cup runneth over, that's when you give. But you don't give that which is inside the cup, because that's for you and that's for yours, right? So they live in deprived and desolate conditions due to their problem with money. And we're going to talk about some things that can help your son develop a better relationship with money here in a second. So that is the money hater. Are you a money hater? Do you detest money and what it does for people or what it does to people? Do you or are you the type of person that purposely avoids material possessions whenever you can because you think material possessions will show that you are in some way too much in love with money, right? Do you live in deprived and desolate conditions because of this hatred that you have with money and material possessions, right? And then last but not least is the money seeker. This is the person who does put money above everything else. This is the person that the Bible talks about. When the Bible says that it would be easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the gates of heaven. Right? This is the type of person that the Bible is talking about, because this is the person that loves money too much, obsesses over becoming wealthy, has money placed in the wrong place in their life, have the wrong relationship with money. Money seekers, right? Obsessing over money, love money too much, right? These are the people who believe that money is seeker. I think you got secret in there. Money seeker. These are the people who are going above and beyond and neglecting everything for their pursuit of money and power. These are people who believe that becoming wealthy will solve all of their problems, right? Becoming wealthy is the end all be all for these people, and these people tend to find that when they get a little bit of money and they start to solve some of their problems, they want more and more and more money. Right? So these people tend to have a more of a power complex than a money complex, because they realize that money as a tool and as a resource in abundance can become a tool and they're looking to wield that tool in a very different way. Absolutely, greed is one of the characteristics of a money seeker. Also, hoarding of money is a characteristic of one of these types of people. They get money and then they hoard it, and then they use it as a weapon over those who don't have. Right? I will do this for you if only you come under subjugation to me. You do this, that, and the other. So you see this sometimes in marital relationships. Husband holds the keys to the bank account, and the wife have to jump through hoops in order to get a little bit of an allowance, so to speak. Right? Sometimes it's this other way. Husband gives the wife the paycheck, and then the wife rations out the money, but she does it in a way that she controls the husband. Right? So these are money seekers. They obsess over money and becoming wealthy. They believe becoming wealthy solves all their problems. They have a greed and power complex, and they also use money as a weapon. Right? These are the 4 types of money people. Right? So if you find yourself somewhere on the spectrum, we're all in this spectrum to some degree. Right? Everybody has a little bit of a splurger in them. Everybody has a little bit of a miser in them. Everybody has a little bit of a hater in them. Everybody has a little bit of a seeker in them, right? The key is identifying. So let's talk about some ways that you can improve your relationship with money. How can you improve your relationship with money? First and foremost, you have to acknowledge and assess your existing relationship. How do you improve your relationship with money? Everything starts with the admission of where you are, identifying where you are. You have to acknowledge and assess your existing relationship. Acknowledge that, yes, I am a money miser. That's who I am. And then you have to assess whether or not that is a healthy place to be. Is that a healthy relationship to be in with money? Acknowledge first where you are on that spectrum. Are you a seeker? Or are you a hater? Or are you a splurger? Or are you a miser? You have to first acknowledge that. Here's where I am. It's the same GPS analogy, right? The GPS can work wonders if they know 2 things: where you are and where you're going. You might want a better relationship with money. You know where you want to go, but if you can't input where you are, then it's hard to develop a plan of directions, map out your plan, unless you first admit where you are. So number 1, you have to acknowledge and assess your existing relationship. Acknowledge and assess your existing relationship. I'm a money splurger. Here's where I am. Once I acknowledge that, right, then I assess, is that really healthy? Chances are it's not. I acknowledge and then I assess, is that a healthy relationship? If that is not a healthy relationship, then you have to take some action steps to change it. What are the action steps that you can take, right? There's where many of us fail. We in denial. Absolutely. About everything. Every negative habit that we have, we tend to be in denial. So sometimes you might have to get with a third party to look at your financial picture and have them assess where you are. That's why you have money mentors and counselors and things of that nature, so that you can have somebody else from the outside look in and say, you know what, you say you're not a money splurger, but I look line by line at your bank statement and you spend money almost every single day. Who does that? You divert almost every day from work, between work and home. There's a stop at the mall or some sort of store before you get there, right? So you have to acknowledge where you are and then make a full assessment of that relationship. It's number 1. Number 2, in order to change any habits or anything, you have to study. You have to study. You have to become knowledgeable about different money strategies, because if you're going to change this relationship, we only do what we know. And if some of us, believe it or not, were brought up in families where we were trained to be money splurgers. We were trained in brand recognition from the time we were little kids, right? Mom and dad put us in certain brands, and they held those brands in high esteem, and they also downed any other brands. So you came up believing that your self-worth was tied to these brands. My family has a culture of everything being a particular brand on a certain level. So you've been trained to be a splurger. Your relationship that you have with money is all you know. So unless you start studying money and its effects on people and the relationships that people have, then you will literally only do what you know. Right? Yes, trained to live paycheck to paycheck. Looking real good. Smelling real good, because even the colognes are name brand, right? Even the perfumes are name brand, right? But broke as all get out. And I like the meme that circulates on Facebook sometimes that says something to the tune of, you're basically going broke to prove to other broke people that you're not broke. You're going broke to prove to other broke people, because let's be real, most of the people that we hang with are equally as broke, but we're trying to look like in their presence that we're not broke. So we're going broke to prove to other broke people that we're not the brokest one in the clique. And that's sad. That's the sad part. We're going broke to prove to other broke people that we're not the brokest person in the clique. So from the type of car we drive, the type of house we try to live in, the clothes that we buy, the places we go out to eat, all of that stuff is smoke and mirrors. It's a show for other broke people, right? Yes, that is a family culture when they teach a perverted view of money. Absolutely, absolutely. So acknowledge where you are, assess the health of that relationship. Most of the time when you do an honest assessment, you will see that, hey, this is not healthy. And one of the reasons that we will not assess our relationship with money, because we know intrinsically that it's not healthy, and we also know that we are using this to as a crutch or to fill some sort of void of some internal issues that we do not want to deal with. So we just try to continue to deal with them via our relationship with money. So acknowledge, assess, then study, right? And once you study the different habits of people with money, you study people with a particular relationship with money that you want, you study, then you have to put in the work. Number 3, put in the work to change. Change is never easy. Change always requires work. It always requires work on the mental, and it always requires work in the area of discipline to actually execute the mental changes. Otherwise, the mind will quickly revert back to where it was to begin with. So you can change your mindset. You can start to study, but that doesn't stick unless you exercise the discipline to make the changes a reality in your life. Got to take the actions. Got to put in the work. Got to put in the work. If you're not putting in the work, you're not going to get it, right? Yes, Cortez, no, how's the time? Are we halfway through? Yes, we just got 3 more to go. 3 more to go. So we are beyond halfway through. So acknowledge and assess. Acknowledge where you are. Assess whether that relationship is healthy. Study healthy relationships with money. And then put in the work to make the necessary changes. Put in the work to make the necessary changes. right? Yes. If you haven't already shared the stream, please share. Put in the work to make the necessary changes, right? And once you make the necessary changes, you start to increase and improve your relationship with money. Then you have to establish, number 4, establish a regular money rehearsal day. Establish a regular money rehearsal day. Right? What are you talking about, a money rehearsal day? I want you to think about something. As a youth basketball coach and trainer, I have regular days that kids come and train with me. I have regular days that kids practice on a regular basis. If you're in the choir at church, you have choir rehearsal. If you're studying scripture, you have Bible study regularly. When is your money practice day? When is your money rehearsal day? Right? See, when you put something into practice, when you make a fundamental change in how you behave, in order to continue to get better at that or maintain that level or that existence of that change, you have to practice. Put in a regular money day. I want you guys to write something down. Billionairebeliefs.com. Billionairebeliefs.com. My man Dame Diesel over there is a young brother who teaches finance in a fundamental way. Billionairebeliefs.com. He has a free kit that he gives out if you go subscribe to his newsletter, and that free kit will help you establish a money rehearsal day. I have found that many don't want to change or feel like they are too old to change, so they practice insanity. Absolutely. That's absolutely what they're doing. So if you know that in order to keep your vocal cords good, you have to go to choir rehearsal. If you know that in order to perform well on Sundays, you have to rehearse. If you know that if you're a sports fanatic and you play sports or you coach sports or you're trying to get better, you know that you have to do practice. You have to rehearse. You have to train. If you know that with anything else that you're trying to get good at, that it takes practice, it takes rehearsing, then when is your regular rehearsal when it comes to money? This should probably be a weekly thing. Set aside an hour or 2 per week and look at your money. Pull out your bank statements or look at your debit card transaction history and say, let me take a look at what I'm doing with my money. Another good resource is Michelle Singleton's or Singletary. Oh, that's not it. I thought I had my hands right on it. This is another good resource for understanding where your money is going. Michelle Singletary's 21-day financial fast. If you're having a tough time assessing your relationship with money, acknowledging where you are, go on this 21-day fast. Go on this 21-day fast and see if you don't find yourself having withdrawals in certain areas of your financial life. Right? If you get through day 2, 3, 4 of the fast and the mall is calling you, then you might be a splurger. You might be a splurger. If you can breeze through the fast with no problem at all, you might be a miser. Right? So those are 2 resources that will help you. Billionairebeliefs.com, and try it without the S. I can't remember if it's beliefs with an S or without, but if you want to search him on Facebook, his name is Dame Diesel. Dame Diesel. But 21-day financial fast is a good way to get a hold of your money and establish some good habits inside of your finances. Will help you change where you need to be. Yeah, Michelle Singletary, 21-day financial fast is a good resource for you guys to get a hold of your money. And in fact, that leads me to number 5. All right, number 4 was establish a money rehearsal day. Number 5 is you might want to look at going into some sort of quarterly or biannual financial boot camp. This is a good one to do every quarter or at least twice a year. Every quarter or at least twice a year, right? Some sort of financial boot camp, because you're trying to change something that's probably been in you your entire life. And just like as an athlete, I can train my athletes every day or twice, 2 or 3 times a week. And they come into me and they train. But muscles have memory. So eventually, after 2-3 weeks, the muscles get used to a particular type of training and they stop getting anything out of that. So once a month, once every 2 months, I have to send them through something like a boot camp to shock the entire system. I have to switch up the entire routine. I have to change things to make it uncomfortable for them yet again. Otherwise, if you do the same type of exercises over and over, eventually you will get used to them. So for instance, if you struggle to do 10 push-ups a day, and you did every day, you struggled through them, you did them every day, in about a month, you're going to be able to knock out 10 push-ups like nothing, right? It's going to be nothing. But guess what? If you keep doing just 10 push-ups every day, those 10 push-ups, you will get nothing out of that, right? So when you establish your change after you study, you start changing, your habits change, then you establish your money rehearsal day, that will become ritualistic, meaning you're doing it yourself. It's kind of like me when I write and I go back and I proofread my own work. I know what I was trying to say, so I miss things all the time. You would need an outside expert to go through your money rehearsal with you in boot camp style, every quarter, twice a year, every 6 months or so, to whip you back into shape, to show you the things that you had been missing because you got mundane in your routine. You got mundane in your routine, right? So if you want to establish a different or better relationship with money, let me just recap the whole thing. So the 4 types of money people that exist: money splurgers, evidenced by purchasing things beyond your means all the time, right? That's just a habit. Shop depending on mood, right? Shop in hopes of finding happiness or to relieve some sort of pain or to deal with some sort of emotion, right? That is a splurger. And it's evident those people tend to be or accumulate a lot of debt, right? Because there's really no plan in how they spend money, right? It's usually they spend money as a reaction, right, to some other stimulus. And that usually leads to a lot of debt. That's a money splurger. Money's miser. They fear poverty so much, they worry about not having enough money that they don't spend money on anything. And they live in poverty. At the same time, they're afraid of poverty. They fear poverty and not having money so much so that they live in poverty and don't even realize it. They live in poverty and don't even realize it because of a twisted thought of not having enough money and fear of poverty, right? And they spend so little and basically they're living in poverty while at the same time they have a fear of living in poverty and worrying about not having enough money. That's a money miser. A money hater is a person who detests money. It's a person who detests people with money. Right? Is a person who detests or what money can do for people, or in other words, what they think money will do to a person. They tend to purposely avoid material possessions. They kind of live in deprived and desolate conditions due to their attitude towards money and material possessions, right? And then there's the money seeker. That is the person who over obsesses about money. go too far beyond money. They think money will solve all of their problems, right? They tend to have a greed or power complex. They tend to use money as a weapon, right? I get to dictate because I have all the money. I'm paying for this, so I'm going to decide what I use my money for, right? So everybody's got a little bit of every one of those things in us, but some of us have an issue, or we're too far down the rabbit hole in one of those things. In order to change your relationship with money, just like your relationship with your family, just like your relationship with your creator, just like your relationship with yourself, you have to first acknowledge where you are, and then you have to assess whether or not that relationship is healthy, right? If you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, you have to first acknowledge that. You have to assess that. So if you have low self-esteem, self-doubt, self-hate going on, you have to first acknowledge that, and you have to assess that, hey man, that's not a healthy relationship. You have to do the same thing with your money. And once you assess that about yourself, then you have to study money and how to create a good relationship with it. You have to study, because if you don't study, if you just the alcoholic or the drug addict can acknowledge where they are. They can assess that this is killing me. But if that's all they know, and they don't go study how to break the addiction, how to study and assess the root cause, if they don't go study and learn something new about these particular addictions, then they're only going to do what they know. They're only going to do what they know. So you have to then go study. But once you study, you can get all the knowledge in the world. That's why I love the people who accurately say that knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge. Right? I know a lot of stuff that I do absolutely nothing with. There is no power there. Until I apply what I know, that's power. So you can do all the studying that you want, but number 3, you have to put that into action. You have to start putting in the work to make the necessary change. You have to put in the work to make the necessary change. And one thing that you have to understand is, I like to tell people exactly how hard something's going to be. I like to set expectations properly. Change is not going to be easy. Change is not going to be easy. But when you know something is going to be difficult going in, you kind of prepare yourself. For when things get hard, you prepare yourself. So know that it's not going to be easy to change your relationship with money, but know that you have to put in the work. But the more work you put in, the better the results you're going to get. Number 4, establish your money rehearsal day, your money practice day. What day of the week will you sit down, you and your spouse, or if you're a single person, sit down and look at where your money is actually going? Sit down and look at the things that you spend money on and try to tap into the emotions that you were experiencing when you were spending that money. What were you going through when you went to the mall and spent that $1,000? Tap into where you were emotionally when you were making some of those purchases, and you might come up with a pattern. You might say, you know what? It looked like every time I made one of these purchases, I was feeling down. Right? You might find a pattern that says, you know what? Every time I made one of these purchases, it came after a big argument with somebody. Every time I made one of these purchases, it was right before I went to hang out with this particular crowd of people. Because now you might be trying to impress people and things of that nature. So start to try to assess and establish a money rehearsal day so you can get some things in order, right? And then finally, even though you have a weekly money rehearsal day, think about looking into finding a money or some sort of financial boot camp that you can attend every couple months, once a quarter, twice a year, where you just go and do some intense 2-3 day work on money and getting your relationship better with money. This is a good thing if you want to do it yourself. She gives all kinds of resources and charts and templates. You can go to her website and download a lot of documents that will help you along the process of your fast. That's kind of intense. 21 days straight, right, of changing your money or your relationship with money. So this wraps up our 3-day series. We talked about faith, your relationship with your creator, your relationship with yourself, how you believe about who you are, how you believe about whose you are, right? We talked about family. We talked about creating a better relationship with family. We talked about building a strong and solid family, because family is the cornerstone of the nation. Family is the seed from which all communities grow from. Communities are the seed from which all nations grow from. And the individual is the seed from which all families grow from. So strengthen yourself as an individual, then you partner with somebody and form a union and build a family. And then that family partners with other families to form a community. Those community partners with other strong communities to form a nation. You will never have a black nation as long as the black family remains splintered. We have to bring the black family back to the dinner table, and that is both literal and metaphorically speaking. Literally bring the family back to the dinner table because you can precipitate your culture at the dinner table. You can set expectations. You can build your family model, your family mission statement, set expectations for what it means to be a part of this family. Right? Metaphorically speaking, just bringing the black family as a whole back together so we can be together regularly 2, 3, 4 times per week. So we can love on one another, encourage one another, bring our problems to the table so that we can help each other heal and that kind of stuff. And that strengthens the family bonds. When we do that, you will see that our communities will transform, because when I recognize the strength of a family, when I am in a strong family myself, and I know what it means to be loved by my family, I know what it means to love my family, it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to kill another that looks like me over some foolishness. Because I will think about how that guy, that person, that gal has somebody who loves them. That guy, that gal is part of somebody's family, part of somebody's culture. So it makes it tougher, and we can start to turn this thing around when we understand the power of the family, and we can bring strong families together, and they can work together to help those who don't have families, take them in and build. And we can transform a lot of the stuff if we start with bringing our personal family together. And then once we have our personal family, not to say we're going to be perfect, there's no such thing, but when we start strengthening our families personally, then we're easier to recognize another strong family and say, you know what, that's the type of family that I would want my child to marry into. That's the type of family that I would want to go into business with, partner with. And you start to build these strong bonds. And when we're doing that all across the country, we start to build strong communities. And when you have a strong community of strong families, I want y'all to think about something. The guy who's selling drugs on the corner, the guy who's running around killing people in our community, that's somebody's son. That's somebody's nephew, somebody's cousin, somebody's uncle, somebody's brother, right? If we had a strong family, we could self-police that kind of individual and say, hey man, you are a menace to our community. And we're not going to allow it. But because our family is splintered, because it's not strong, we know who the menaces in the community are, and we give them shelter. We give them harbor. And we don't say nothing about their deeds and their acts of destroying our community. So when we strengthen the family, we produce leaders and not followers. When we strengthen the family, we know that a lot of these young brothers on the corners, these young sisters on the corners are trying to figure out their own economy, and they're just doing it in a perverted way. When we strengthen the family, we can say, hey, I see that entrepreneurial spirit in you, but you're not going to go sell no drugs. You want to be a businessman? Then let's teach you how to be a businessman. You're trying to get your own money? There's 1,000,001 ways to get money without destroying our communities to do it. But you can't do that when the family is splintered and not on the same page. So, faith, family, today was a financial installment. Develop the right relationship with money. One of the reasons that the family is splintered is because we have the wrong relationship with money. And everybody's chasing money instead of chasing family culture, family ties, and the building up of the family. So get the right relationship with money. We can build strong families. Make sure that our faith in our God is right. Our relationship with our Creator is right. Our faith and our relationships with ourselves are right. Strong individuals create strong unions. Strong unions create strong families create strong communities, and a strong community will build a strong nation. So appreciate that for you guys for tuning in to this particular series. I am Ace Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community. If you want information on how to join or access today's webinar on how to start a nonprofit, how to run a nonprofit more effectively and efficiently, how to run a profitable nonprofit without the need to fundraise and do donations and seek and wait on government grants and stuff, just inbox me and let me know. I will send you the link to register for today's webinar. I think you're going to be blessed if you're into nonprofits, and you will learn a lot. So I'm Ace Cortez. Till I talk to you guys tomorrow, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. Peace out, y'all.